Hello. So, just going to talk a bit about addiction and recovery and family. And I got to sit this morning with a few fellas and do some recovery work, read from the book, and we read a chapter from the big book, We Agnostics, one of my favorite, if not my favorite chapter, and just magical. And so my thought this morning is not just with the addict and the alcoholic, but with family. Um, you know, how do we get to a place where, we recognize the desperate need for calm, for peace, for, uh, you know, contentment, for serenity? How do we get to that place where where we recognize um, that looking for that within our own resources um, doesn't doesn't really work. Most of us have kind of tried to create that, and what happens for most of us is that we live in a if we're family or if we're of an alcoholic or an addict, we often live in fear. We live in anger. We live in, you know, um, self-pity. We live in kind of desperation from our own, when we're living from our own resources. I mean, um, for the addict and the alcoholic, we see that as well. Although, as soon as things get a little bit better, we forget. We can't seem to keep that in mind very long. We forget that how desperate things got. But for the family, it just goes on all the time. The stress goes on all the time, and many of us have had trauma related to the angry addict or alcoholic busting up the house or stealing the car, or not coming home for days on end, and we think that they've died, or they've so we're really living in a quagmire of fear and doubt and guilt and shame, so um, my message today is really we need to find a power greater than ourselves. That's the whole deal. And when reading We Agnostics today again, I've read it hundreds of times. It's a great chapter in the big book, but um, the 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 way into that power is so broad. It's so possible you know to see that it isn't there isn't just one way. There isn't just one way, and where do we find that power? Bill says that we find that power deep down within every man, woman, and child. It's a fundamental idea of God, or a higher power, or universal intelligence, so my message over and over again is to kind of help you and folks that are dealing with addicts and living with addiction and their own the pain of that separation, to find the way home again. But it's inside of us. That's the crux of it. It isn't a belief, okay? It begins with belief. We believe there's something. We even might have a name for it, or we might have a whole story built up around it if it's from a religious belief. We might have a whole story which comforts us, but what we're looking for is the experience of that. We're looking for the consciousness of that power. And when I've talked to lots of people, I recognize that most of us actually have it. We're not aware that we have it. But when let's use love as an example. So love, uh, you know, we're all agreed that love is a power greater than ourselves. That love is healing. Love is it's an amazing power. We feel it. We say, wow, that and everybody believes in love, and so love can be kind of the way in to this accessing this amazing spiritual power. But a lot of times our ideas of God have got us confused. We have a childhood idea that was given to us by a religion that has, it's an objective God, an idea of a God that's a way, outside of us, that comes with a picture and it comes with a story. And let's let go of that for a while. I mean, we can continue to use that, but recognize that it has to be personal. It has to be something that we can connect with and be one with. And that's why when I do this every morning, I do a little meditation because it's deep down inside. We have to still ourselves enough to sense it, to feel it, to get past the mind, because the thinking, the mind, if there's an enemy, it seems to be in the thinking mind. Not that it isn't, also a tool and a servant, but it can be, it's gone from, the mind has gone from being an employee to being the boss. And the mind is, has its ideas about things, its concepts of things, its prejudice, and so somehow we have to get past the mind. We have to recognize that the mind, isn't serving us often. It's actually keeping us in a small place, a place of fear, a place of, guilt and shame. So past the mind, baby. We got to recognize that beyond the mind is this openness, this emptiness, this oneness, this isness. That I am that. And where's that found? It's found deep down inside of us. So we need to sit quiet. We need to contemplate quietly. We need to look deep inside of us to see that, So that's my message for today. The answer is inside. And, and I'll sit with any of you anytime, or discuss this in depth at any time, because having had the experience, having lived the experience, it isn't now, I'm not talking about it from a conceptual point of view. I'm talking about it from a knowingness, from an experiencing. And it's so easy. It really is. But the mind complicates it. And is always looking, wants to understand. The mind wants to understand and control. The mind's scared to death to lose control. Ego doesn't want to lose control. It's afraid, and it's, that's ego's job to look after us, it thinks, but it can't look after us the way, because it runs into all of these things that are beyond its control, totally beyond its control. And so, it either dismisses them or runs away from them. It says, well, and ego makes us into our life into a much smaller space, so that it can control everything. But with inclusiveness and openness and expandedness of this power that's within us, we don't have to live in a small space. We can be vulnerable. We can be exposed. We can be transparent, because there's nothing to fear. There's really, fear is trumped up. No pun. It is. It's trumped up. There is nothing to fear. We just be here now. And that expression of being here now is one way of meeting that space. We have to be able to be here now. We have to be able to go inside and contemplate the moment. So that's my message today. It is there. Sit quietly. Find that quiet space. Let go of all of our ideas and our concepts and attachments and identities. They're all from the mind. And be for a moment free in this emptiness with no concepts, right? This emptiness with no identities. Not holding on to I am Canadian, or I am a man, or I am a woman, or I am a husband, or I am whatever I do for a living. Just let that all go. Just, because it's a story. It's not true. It's just a story. So I'm going to read from the little book here today that I read from we've been doing this for a while. And page, what are we at? The 13th. The 13th. I think 13th of March. I think pretty soon the time changes, doesn't it? We have a little time change in this part of the world. I think that's coming up soon. March the 13th. Mm. Beautiful to be sitting outside again. Gosh, what a beautiful world. It really is, you know. And how can we live in this beautiful world and this the order that is here? You know, the seasons change and just to look in the sky, look at the stars, and not believe that there's some order to it all, and that we just need to connect with that order. We need to connect with that, and have faith that everything is exactly as it should be. Nothing is out of place. It's all perfect. Nothing's missing. It's beautiful. March 13th. This book was written in 1954, published in 1954, and it was the very early days of the 12-step world, 12-step program, and it's been a bit of a mainstay for many of us for many years. It says, March 13th, thought for the day. We have got rid of our false drinking selves and found our real sober selves. And we turn to God, our Father, for help, just as the prodigal son arose and went to his father. At the end of the story, the father of the prodigal son says, he was dead and is alive again. He was lost and he is found. We alcoholics have found sobriety in AA, or the 12 steps. We're certainly dead and are alive again. We were lost and are found. Beautiful. A nice comparison with the story of the prodigal son. Meditation for the day. Gently breathe in God's Spirit. That Spirit which, if not barred by selfishness, will enable you to do good works. Let me read that again. Gently breathe in God's Spirit. That Spirit which, if not barred out by selfishness, will enable you to do good works. This means rather that God will be enabled to do good works through you. And that's my prayer every day, is to stay out of the road, not try to run the show, allow this to come through me. And sometimes I struggle with it for sure. I'm not always living in this firm foundation. Ego creeps in and says, who do you think you are? But I just sit down and this shit comes out, right? And I'm not responsible for the results or, if anybody gets something or not. But I know when I do this every day, I'm lifted up, so, and it's me, affirming my relationship, my conscious relationship with this higher power. And so I'm very grateful. This means rather that God will be enabled to do good works through you. You can become a channel for God's Spirit to flow through you and into the lives of others. The works that you can do will only be limited by your spiritual development. Let your spirit be in harmony with God's Spirit, and there's no limit to what you can do in the realm of human relationships. Thank you. My prayer often is just thank you, thank you, thank you. Just thank you. And then guide me, show me what you'd have me to be. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may become a channel for God's Spirit. I pray that God's Spirit may flow through me into the lives of others. That is my prayer. So, hopefully this is of some help to you guys, and I appreciate the support I've been getting, and I had been sharing these for a while on a lot of different groups in Facebook, and Facebook shut me down. I'm not allowed to share it. I put it on YouTube, and then I've been sharing it in the groups, and Facebook penalized me for doing that. So I have to be careful. I guess I was being a little too aggressive with that, and so I'm open to any other way of this happening. I certainly need some help. I'd like some help with sharing this message. If you think this is worthwhile, share it, and or go to my YouTube channel and share the channel, and I'd like to grow the YouTube message, or I think that's one way to reach more people, and I'm really open to however this gets carried, or how it moves. Ah, and I realize that I don't know. I don't have the skills to do the IT stuff. I just get in front of the camera every day and do this. So we're going to have a quiet sit, like a little meditation. I'd love you to join me, and just recognize that if you're one of those people that says, "Oh, Jesus, I can't meditate. My mind is too busy. I don't know how to meditate." Then just follow me for a few minutes here now. It's really simple, and I don't even call it meditation. I call it sitting. Being still, being quiet, and it doesn't matter what noises are around us. Whether there's I can hear a bit of noise over here that way, and that, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just be here in this moment, no matter what's happening. Include what's happening around you, and see if you can sit comfortably for a minute. Find yourself a space that works. It doesn't have to be fancy, or it can be. I have lots of meditation stools. If you want one, I have all the tools to build a beautiful meditation space if you'd like one. But it doesn't need to be. It can be just sitting like this. I'm just on a stool, and I feel secure. I can close my eyes. So just join me for a minute and close yours, and just drop in. We're gonna drop inside. When we close the eyes, we recognize we're not focused outside. And if there's noises around you, just include them without focusing on them or trying to listen. So we drop into the body, bring our attention, our focus into the body just for a moment, so that we're here, feeling our feet, our legs, our hips, just feeling our whole body, our torso, our back, our spine, our neck, into our head. Just, we're all here in this moment. Our focus, our energy, our consciousness is right here, in this moment, in this now. In our breath. When we're here in our breath, we're present. And if thoughts come up, just recognize that we're not our thoughts. We are not our thoughts. Just let it go. Let it drop away. We are not our thoughts. The thoughts are often just random. They come out of nowhere. So just, when they come, just let them go. Say thank you. My life has become shifted to such a degree that no matter what is coming up, whether thoughts of old thoughts of not good enough, or I've done something wrong, or guilt or shame, just, you can see it now. You're separate from it. You're like, oh, look at that. It's just like it comes out of nowhere. So just recognize you're not that. And you can just say, I'll be back. Thank you. When fear comes, I just ask God to remove that fear. Anger comes, I just ask. And my prayer brings me into the moment. And when I'm here and present in this moment, then that's where all power lies. That's where my connection with higher power, with universal intelligence, with consciousness lies, in this moment. So just be here now. Breathe. Drop in. Just drop in, drop in, drop in. Be here now. In the stillness, in the quiet, in the oneness. So just feel the stillness. Recognize that this is available to everybody. Everybody, every living, breathing soul can drop into this space. There's no restriction. Every man, woman, and child, every color, every creed, no matter what you've done in your life, really, no matter what you've done, how bad you think you are, it's available to everyone. This peace, and this becomes a guiding light. We go from fear to love in this guiding light. It doesn't have to take forever. It can happen instantaneously. A true awakening can happen like that. I suggest we practice this though, and keep bringing ourselves back to this place of oneness, this place of all power in the now. Eckhart Tolle speaks about the power of now because that's where it is in the now. It's not the now, it is now. It's in the now. It is that. Undescribable. As soon as we describe it or put a name to it, we've already separated from it. So just be here now. Practice this. So I just want to invite you Monday evenings at 7 o'clock. We have a little Zoom call. It's kind of a sharing group. You're welcome to join us there. And yeah, love it if you go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Thank you for that. Love you guys. Love you, love you, love you. It's so easy. Just be the love. Okay. Thanks so much.